Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the channel. This is your boy, Spiritual Intellectual 777, here once again, coming at you guys live from the House of Greatness. And in today's live video, I am going to be talking about the presidential election from a spiritual slash esoteric perspective. Now, before we begin a live, I want to give you some context as to why I'm doing it. And first and foremost, it's just been, you know, a whole crazy election, right? And there's a lot of insights that I've personally have gotten from this election alone. And that's why, that's part of the reason why I want to share this with you. And another reason why is that, I've taken an interest in looking at current events in the world. And at first, I didn't really care. I was just like, man, it's whatever. Like, I'm not going to really pay attention to what goes on in the world because, I just didn't feel the need to at first. I'm just going to be straight up and honest with you, because you deserve to know the truth. You deserve to know, that I didn't. I didn't really care at first because I'm just like, life is not going to change and this, that, and the third, just basically thinking like a atypical person would think. But this particular election was different just in terms of just the overall energy about it, right? And so without further ado, I'm going to talk about the first point. So the very first point that I want to get into, which is very obvious for everyone, very obvious point is that everyone is tired of career politicians. I mean, I feel like we are all tired of it because, they've made numerous promises over the years like, oh, yeah, we're going to bring you this policy and that policy. We're going to bring this change and that change and that change and that change and that change. And then once they get all your votes and they actually get into office, you notice later on down the road that nothing has really changed. And that's something that everybody in the United States of America has observed over the years is that, most of these politicians are all talk and they haven't really done anything to help move the country forward in a positive way. And it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. What matters is that you have to observe the people behind the scenes. You have to do your research on them before you make an informed decision on who to vote for, whose policies that you resonate with. And coming from the higher perspective, you have to think about, hmm, what's going to work for the highest good of all, not just for me or a select group of people, but which policies make the most sense, and that's going to help the good of all the people. And you'll learn this along your spiritual path more and more and more, is learning how to pick up on people's energies and learning how to read people, learning how to spot their intentions way before they even say a word. And I feel like a lot of people's intuitions are starting to kick in to high gear now, hence the term 2020 vision. People are seeing things a lot clearer now. And people are waking up at faster and faster rates and they're not falling for the illusions and all the BS anymore. And so people are starting to question everything. They're starting to look deeper into stuff, and people are just not settling for what the media is saying. And heck, even these independent media outlets, because some of them are putting out false information. So it's like in reality, you don't know who to believe. And to bring it into the topic of this video is, about the presidential election. You obviously have some people that talk about, the voter fraud that's going on. They talk about, oh, I'm pro Donald Trump or I'm pro Joe Biden. And, you have both factions going at each other's necks, right? And you'll have some independent media outlets, and even obviously the mainstream ones, that are either far left or far right. And so you really have to think critically, and you have to awaken your spiritual senses to see um what's truthful information versus the falsehoods, and really do deep research on the person that you feel most passionate about before you just cast your votes and say, oh, that person's a good person because they promised this, that, and the third. Because like I said, a lot of people are not falling for lip service anymore. They want to see action. They want to see the actual changes, and not just have a person that's going up on a podium and looking at the camera, speaking to millions of people, saying like, yeah, I'm gonna give you this, I'm gonna give you that, I'm gonna give you that, and then just fall flat on delivering all the promises that they promised to give you, right? And so the second point that I want to speak on in this video is that people are hungry for the truth, which is some of what I said in the first point, is that people are just really tired of being lied to. They're tired of the false promises. They're tired of, these politicians wearing masks in general. And so you have a lot of people that are covering this particular election because it's had a lot of people worried. It's had people on their seats. It's had many people anxious, and it's had people angry with everything that's going on. And it's just like this energy is very dense right now. And so people are like desperately searching for the truth behind the scenes. And also, the point that ties into this as well as the first point, is souls are waking up more and more. No longer are they falling for the lies. No longer are they're just sitting around playing the victim, waiting for said politician or politicians to come save them or help them up. Because we obviously know that there was buzz about the stimulus checks, and there was talks about that for months and months and months, but we haven't seen anything, right? And so people are starting to realize now that they have to help themselves. And this is another insight that, you know, it took some time to seep into my consciousness, but once it did, it's like I started having these breakthroughs. And I said, you know what, man, I can't keep playing the waiting game. Just like every other soul is realizing that they can't play the waiting game anymore, is that, if they want to get themselves out of the hole financially, obviously, you're going to have to either take up a job or take up another job because they cut your hours at the current job that you work, or, you start numerous side hustles to bring in extra income just so you can take care of yourself and the and your family. Because it's blatantly obvious that the people that are sitting in office are not have no interest in helping the greater good. Like, they've shown that through their actions. And so a lot of souls are also waking up to the fact that this whole world is like an illusion, right? And you guys have seen the Matrix movies, obviously, like where Morpheus told Neo, like, hey, you take the blue pill, you remain, the story ends, you wake up in your bed, yada yada yada, take the red pill, yada yada yada, you wake up, you see the world, and you go deep down a rabbit hole. And that's what's happening to a lot of us right now, is that we're looking deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole of this whole world as we know it. And no longer are people just believing what they see, what they hear, smell, taste, touch, any of that. Because the fact of the matter is, it's like, no matter who becomes president at the end of the day, we are still responsible for saving ourselves. We're still responsible for our own survival, for us thriving, for us manifesting what we want, for us living out our true destiny, and for us living up to our truth. because it's not up to Joe Biden or Donald Trump to do that for us. It's up to us to do that for us so that we can shine and we can move on up like we're supposed to, so that we can truly walk our true spiritual path. So that's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter who's president, we are still responsible for walking our own paths. All right. So, point number four, what I want to talk about in this video while this is recording, is it's this election has triggered a lot of emotions, like I mentioned in the first point. Some people were happy with, Biden becoming president. Some people were distraught. There are some people that, you know, like people are going to be either upset or happy either way. It doesn't matter which candidate goes into office, you're going to have all sorts of mixed reactions. And the best thing that we can do personally is to remain neutral and to remain centered inside of our being and to realize that change is an ever part of life. You know what I mean? And so it's our job to keep ourselves stable emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically on all fronts. We have to keep our energy stabilized. We can't get caught up in this monsoon of negativity, right? Because you're going to see lots of it. You're going to see news outlets attack each other. I mean, if you watch a little bit of the presidential debate, you'll see that, Biden and Trump were going at each other's throats. And it was just like this back and forth type of aggressive energy. And yeah, it did happen in the previous presidential election 4 years ago, but now it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And so the fifth point that I want to talk about is that it's teaching us to lead ourselves, right? And this ties in with points number two and number three, because at the end of the day, it's our life, it's our it's our emotions, it's our energy, it's our everything that we can control. We can't control who goes into office. Yes, you can cast your votes, but you're not in control of the end result at the end of the day. So the best thing that you can do is just lead yourself. And that's the whole point of going on your spiritual journey. Is so that you can go back home to yourself and tap into your intuition a lot more, your higher self or God, whatever you want to call it. You just got to tap into it. And so, yes, it's going to take time to develop or redevelop that relationship with your intuition, because for the most part it's been silenced by the noise of the outside world. And so when you get on your spiritual path, you'll learn as time goes on, you learn how to get better at silencing the noise of the outside world in favor of listening to your own internal guidance. You know what I mean? So you have to remain steadfast in on your intuitive hunches, and you have to remain vigilant about the signs that your intuition is showing you. You see what I mean? So no, Joe Biden and Trump can't do that for you. You are responsible for keeping that that connection pure with your intuition. And it's not going to be easy because you're going to have the noise of the outside world constantly bombarding you, with people telling you, oh, yeah, vote for Biden, vote for Trump, vote for this person, vote for that person. And you just have to learn to tune all that stuff out and just attune to the wise teacher within. Because at the end of the day, it already knows what what what's the right direction for you to go in your life. It already knows that. But you have to discipline yourself enough to tune out the noise of the matrix and tune into the voice of God, the voice of your soul. So you are ultimately responsible for that. No one can make you, yeah, no one can make you tune into it. it can't make you listen to it because, of course, we all have free will. That's very obvious. But at the same time, you have to realize that it's never ever going to lead you astray. And I just found that in my own life as of recently. I'm not going to get too much into the story right now because I'm doing my best to focus on the presidential election. It's like my intuition is just kicked into high gear after I left my family, and I just learned to start listening to it more and more. It's that intuitive voice is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And of course, there's a lot of fishy stuff with the presidential election. But like I said, at the same time, we can't live in fear. We can't, live in anger. We can't live in, you know, we can't live in negativity. We can't live in that lower vibrational energy. We can't keep ourselves stuck there. We have to learn to rise above it and learn to just be our own person, walk our path with grace, and be a shining light to others. Because that's our job in this lifetime, is to carry on our mission and to shine our light and be a positive example to other people, and just focus on that. Just simplify your life. Don't let this election distract you from that. Don't let it distract you from your mission. Don't get so wrapped up and caught up in it to where you just lose your way and you get so sucked into the negativity that it's extremely hard to get out. Okay? So another point that I want to cover is that souls are taking their power back. And I don't know if you notice this, guys, is that all of these points are interconnected like links on a chain. So, souls, it started with the souls waking up. And then when the souls start waking up, they start questioning everything. And when they start questioning everything, they start slowly but surely taking their power back, because we all notice when you first, for anybody that's been walking their spiritual path for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. Is that you can recognize that something's not quite right with this world, but at the same time, you still have all of these conscious and subconscious fears and these karmic cycles weighing you down. So, as you advance more and more on your spiritual path and you start waking up even more and you start getting even deeper downloads from God, universe, your higher self, whatever you want to call you're going to start gradually rising up more and more and more. It's not going to be like this huge quantum leap, although quantum leaps can happen because I've seen it on my own path. But, you know, most for the most part, it's just going to gradually keep going up and going up and going up. Or you are going to keep going up in your consciousness. And the more hyper aware you're going to be what's going on in the world, because a person that's fully awakened spiritually, they don't get emotionally invested in something like a presidential election, because they're like, it's not nonchalant. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they don't let it consume all their energy. Kind of like me. Yes, I did my research and will continue to do my research about this election, but at the same time, I'm not going to get so emotionally wrapped up in it and get so butthurt about this person and that, what this person says about this candidate and what that person says about that candidate. Because I realize at the end of the day, when we all leave our physical vessel and we get back to our original form, it's not going to matter anyways. Yes, it does matter in a sense of the direction of the country, but in just like a universal grand scale, it's just like it's smaller than a drop in a bucket, is the best way that I can put it. And so, like I said, I'm not saying don't take this election seriously, but I'm just saying, just don't get your energy down in the dumps, okay? You can't allow yourself to do that. You have to do whatever you can to keep that joy, that happiness, and that motivation to want to continue on your spiritual path, to want to continue to better yourself, to want to continue to live your best life, to want to continue to be of service to your spiritual brothers and sisters, to continue to keep shining your light, to continue to carry out your divine mission. That's what I'm saying, man. Is that simple. It's that freaking simple. And so the last point that I want to go ahead and cover while I'm on this live call is that this political divide is a last ditch attempt to keep us suppressed and separated. So, in other words, what that means is that they want us to keep getting lost in this illusion of separation. And they want us to keep fighting amongst each other. You know, you got the Democrats and the Republicans just going at each other's necks, just, Biden supporters are pulling up on Trump supporters, and you have Trump supporters pulling up on Biden supporters. And you have, one group of people say F Donald Trump and another group of people that says F Joe Biden. But at the end of the day, it's all a strategy and a tool to keep us all separated and divided. And it's like that saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. And the longer we keep playing this game of, the Democrats versus the Republicans, the longer we're feeding our energy into the matrix, and thus is keeping us stuck on a lower frequency, and thus we get stuck in a reality where there's nothing but chaos and dysfunction. You guys have seen the news stories where, you know, apparently the Trump bus pulled up on, a Biden supporter bus and try to block it, and it's just a mess. And I'm just looking at that like, and most people, I'm just looking at that like, man, most people are never going to see that the beings that control this reality are purposely playing this game with us to keep us on that 3D level of consciousness instead of us rising up into like 5D, 6D, so on and so forth. There's just so much, but that's for another live video though. Um, you know, just for the sake of this live video, we're gonna keep it on the election though. So you guys are seeing more and more that this divide is really just that. It's just a tool to keep us divided and to keep us from truly rising up, because they're desperate. They're really, really desperate in keeping this game, keeping us in this game, so to speak, of just feeling powerless, of trying to depend on, the Democrats or the Republicans to try to, save us from our own misery. But like I said, one thing you are going to learn sooner or later on your path is that you are indeed your own savior. So that's all I got to say about this, guys. Just like I said, man, keep your head up during these tough times. Obviously, keep yourself safe, because there's like a pandemic going on out here. And we heard, we got that going on. You got, Trump supporters and Biden supporters going at each other. You got this economic collapse that's going on. There's just a lot going on, and it's so freaking easy, so easy to get lost in a sauce that is literally not even funny. You know, get your laugh in. Watch a comedy special. Go play a game if you have to. Play with your dogs. Play with your cats. Play with your kids. The point is, do something to keep your mind focused on the good things in life, on the positive things, because that's like one of the most simple things you can do to raise your vibration, not only to raise it, but to keep it high. It's one thing to raise your vibration, but it's another thing to keep yourself on a higher vibration. Because most people are able to raise their vibration, but they have trouble keeping themselves on a high vibration, including myself. I have my days where I slip into negative thoughts, and then I start really, just going off and shooting off at the mouth, venting at first, but then it turns into complaining. And then next thing you know, I start manifesting a bunch of stuff I don't want. And it's just a mess. It's just a slippery slope that you do not want to go down. So either way, guys, Just make sure to stay balanced. If you want to get you some merch, the link is in the description below. If you would like to donate to the channel, the link is in the live chat and it's also in the description. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. Make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe this live. Make sure to go ahead and share this live with your friends and family to encourage them to keep their vibes high and encourage, everybody around that's around you physically and on the internet as well to keep their vibes high and to remember to go back home to self love. Start loving yourself, start nurturing your mind, your soul, your spirit, your talents, all that. Nurture all of that, guys, because that's what's going to help you become a light in this, you know, extremely, extremely dark world. And especially with the, emotional and financial dark age that we're going through right now, it's more important than ever that we step up as the leaders that we came to be. That's why I wrote that point in for this live video is for us to start leading ourselves, because when we're able to lead ourselves, we're then able to lead others and to shine a light for others. All right. So peace and out with the highest vibes, and I'll catch you guys next time.